shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me Allah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Boyd Hamera, for taking that oath. We will proceed in this manner. We'll give you time to give us a background as well as any information that you want to give as a matter of just making you settle. And after that, members will ask you questions. Whenever they are asking questions, kindly take note of the constituencies they are representing. In the event that along the way you want any support from Secretariat, you can raise your hand and I'll ask someone to attend to you so that you feel that the environment is more welcoming and professional. We want to do this as a matter of inquiry, so there's nothing more that we're going to do beyond providing conducive environment. Take note that there are other key stakeholders who are on this. So, for example, Palombe Machemba has asked a question. You will not recognize him by name, but as per Palombe Machemba, then you will proceed in that way. So, Mr. Hamera, thank you so much for appearing before the Public Accounts Committee today. Your appearing to us is a unique and it will help us to have a critical position as Public Accounts Committee. You were the chairperson of the Funds Investment Committee in the previous board, and you are now the acting principal officer. The committee expects you to provide clarity on how this transaction evolved from a rejected proposal under your previous watch to an approved and concluded deal under your current leadership. So in its infancy, you were the chairperson of the investment committee, but along the way, it was stopped. In its maturation, you are the acting principal officer of the fund. So we would want to get details because you have an institutional memory in as far as the transaction of the sale of Amaryllis Hotel is concerned. Over to you, Mr. Boyd Hamera.
Thank you, Chairperson, and the whole committee. It is very true that I've been with the fund. If I'm to accumulate the years that I've been with the fund as a trustee and also a principal officer, with a break in between 2024 and 2025 Septembers, I can be talking of 8 years working associated with the fund. I was appointed a trustee for the Public Service Pension Fund in 2017. And during that tenure, I was the chairperson of the investment committee for 3 years, from 2017 up to 2020. My appointment was renewed, and I served from 2021 up to 2024, and I was the chairperson of the investment committee in all that. Then when my tenure expired, I had to go back. I am a civil servant. My substantive position as I'm speaking, I'm the Deputy Director of Agricultural Planning Services in the Ministry of Agriculture. So that's where I was. In October, it's when I was appointed as the acting principal officer through the appointment of the board of the fund, the current board. And because I'm a civil servant, I had to be released by the Chief Secretary. So the Chief Secretary seconded me to the Public Service Pension Fund. That's how I can briefly say. Regarding this transaction, indeed it evolved, or the conception of this project happened when I was chairing the investment committee. It was around...
Can you come out clear? When were you seconded to the board?
I was appointed. The nature of appointments at the board is that it's the board that appoints the principal officer and the executive management. So I was appointed on 27th October 2025.
Kindly proceed. Just wanted that to be put into perspective.
Yeah, so the conception of this investment in Amaryllis really was conceived during my tenure as chairperson of the investment committee at the fund. That was around in 2022 when, with the flow of funds, the money that the fund was receiving, the fund receives contribution of members, that is civil servants' contribution to the pension and government's contribution. So with the flow of that money, and in that the fund is young, considering that the members are those that were born in 1982, January upwards, or those that started working in 2017 when the fund was being established. It had the opportunity that there will be accumulation of funds, and the next or the earliest huge withdrawals will be then. It was in 20-25 years, that is in 2017. So as it is the case, we had to think of what could be the proper investments that can safeguard the members' pension money. And there were so many options. Investing on the stock exchange market, investing in different things, but among the investments, hospitality industry was considered as one of the best investments. That is, we can have a chain of hotels in the country, and the hotels will be making money, which will be needed in 15, 20 years as these people that are contributing will be retiring. So it was agreed, and we agreed and have a strategy to say how do we invest in the hospitality industry. Our Honorable Chair, will take you back that the fund has 3 investment managers. These are the institutions that do the actual investing of the money of the pension fund. We have Old Mutual, we have Continental, we have NICO as our investment managers. So it was in our agreement that we should have a chain of hotels, and the thinking was that each of these investment managers should be assigned a hospitality venture. Along those lines, Continental Asset was assigned to acquire Sigerege, then Sigerege, which was bought, and now it's called Lifestyle, that is in Lilongwe. NICO was assigned to procure Amaryllis. And the Old Mutual had already acquired land in Luntha where they were supposed to build a hotel. There is another lifestyle at Chipembere as a hotel. We also call it ex-Royal Palm because it's around the clock tower. With this, we proceeded. As to how the Amaryllis hotel came in, it came in as an investment coming from an investment manager, and that was Nico brought it. We had a meeting that was held somewhere March and May, where they presented 3 investment opportunities to the board, to the investment committee, the committee that I was chairing.
Pesa, you can switch off your mic. Kindly remember to switch off your mic whenever I've taken to the floor. There's a point of order from Mulanje Southeast. What has gone out of order, Mulanje Southeast?
Honorable Chairperson, is it in order for the stakeholder to mention dates without years to this committee? How does your honorable committee follow the chronology of events if we are not appraised of the year when the activities he's tabling before this honorable committee were undertaken? Honorable Chairperson.
Your point of order has been sustained. Mr. Acting Principal Officer, kindly note that it is important to give clear years like you've done when the fund started. Who are the people who are going to benefit? You've indicated to this committee that it rolled out around 2017, and that in 25 years, people will start benefiting. That takes us to somewhere around 2042. You've indicated as well that those who were born from 1982 and above do fall in this. So people may want you to come out clearly. By the way, when were you born?
Thank you, Chairperson. I am as old as somebody who was born in 1984, November 26, 1984.
So you stand to benefit from this, right?
Yes, Chairperson, I'm a member of this fund.
You can proceed, but make sure you take on board the plea from Mulanje Southeast. Proceed, Mr. Acting Principal Officer.
Thank you, Chairperson and all members. Yeah, the investments, the 3 investments that Nico brought into the investment committee were presented on 18th May 2023. And a formal request for the board's consideration was sent to the fund on the 29th May 2023, asking if among the 3 investments the fund is interested in any of the 3. The investments were Amaryllis Hotel Limited, that is to acquire 100% shares, Select Financial Services Limited to get up to 40% of equity, and the Select Financial Services to buy a corporate bond of up to 2 billion. So when this was presented, the fund was interested because it had already, in 2022, it had already conceived the idea of having a hospitality industry as the line of growth for the fund and to safeguard the members' values. It was the Amaryllis hospitality that was picked. And in response, the fund asked the NICO to proceed to do further analyses that are associated with the acquisition of an investment of this nature. With that, the purchase was in 2 folds. The fund was buying a hotel as a hotel business, the hotel operations, and the hotel building as property. Because of that nature, it required that the analysis should include the property valuations and the business analysis. That is to ascertain if the acquisition is a viable investment. With that go ahead, NICO proceeded to do valuation of the hotel, and they used the Garden City and Knight Frank to do the valuations, and they produced their results somewhere around the June, July 2023. That followed a business analysis that was commissioned by NICO, but it was done by FDH as a bank. And when that was produced around August or thereabout, 2023, then it was presented. And looking at the figures or what came out of the evaluations and the like, the board gave a nod to say we can proceed with this investment. And because the hotel is something that is one of the biggest hotels in the country, and it's an upstairs building, the board asked NICO to also proceed with the structural integrity analysis, that is to ensure the construction of this hotel followed the required standards. And that was not stopping, or that was not a condition that if the structural integrity analysis is not completed, then we cannot proceed. No, it was supposed to be taken just to be double sure that we are buying a structure that is of good standards. On around 19 September, after analyzing everything, it was agreed that we should have negotiations on the price. And the price was negotiated. It was negotiated virtually. Those that participated in the negotiations for this acquisition was myself as representing the investment committee. There was chairperson for the risk and audit committee.
Controlling officer, acting principal officer. What has gone out of order, Mulanje Southeast?
Honorable Chairperson, we are told that a meeting was held on the 19th of September. 19th of September of which year, Honorable Chairperson?
Acting principal officer, kindly refresh yourself on what I wrote in terms of completing the date, because the other members are taking note. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair. This was 19th September of 2023. So we negotiated, and in the presence of the investment manager, that is NICO, the then board chair, and the then principal officer. The negotiations were concluded, and it was indicated that by the end of that September, we should have the transaction concluded. September 2023.
Acting principal officer, I see a hand from Mulanje West. Mulanje West, what is it?
Chair, through you, I just want to ask also the acting principal officer that is going to indicate who are these people who were together with him on the meeting.
Mr. Acting Principal Officer for the fund, kindly consider and giving clear names and the positions they held. If you took them along to a meeting, under what capacity? As a chair of investment, as just a trustee, all those details, because we need to have the information. You may proceed. I see a hand from Nkatabe Central. Nkatabe Central.
Yes, sir. Nkatabe Central is raising a hand on a point of order to find out he should indeed complete. There was an instruction to the secretariat headed by himself to have the negotiations and transaction concluded in 2023 September. That instruction was coming from whom? Who was instructing you, sir? Thank you.
Please make sure that you capture that. Those who gave you instructions, you must put them, must disclose to this committee. Why? Mr. Acting Controlling Officer or Acting Principal Officer, we called you to Public Accounts Committee because this is the only committee that has been mandated by Parliament to sit here on behalf of Parliament. And the members of Parliament have 3 key laws. There's one, representation, another one is oversight, and legislation. So whatever you're saying here will also help us to legislate, to put laws which are going to save the interest of Malawians, because all these members, they took an oath of office and oath of allegiance to this nation. So through the same power of or law of providing oversight, we asked that you appear because the committee, in pursuant of Standing Order 151, the Public Accounts Committee, like any other committees of the House, have several powers, one of which you're looking to summon or subpoena any person to attend and give evidence before a committee at a stated time and place. And on top of that, to require any person to disclose and produce to the committee any papers and records in that person's control, possession, and custody relevant to the committee's proceeding. So what Nkatabe Central has requested is within the powers of this committee. I therefore ask you, in pursuant of the same, to disclose the names as we proceed. Over to you, Acting Principal Officer.
Thank you, Chair and the members. We were not told, but we decided as a board to conclude the transaction in 2023 September. During the negotiations, the members that were there during the negotiations agreed to say this should be concluded by September. There was a provision that we can wait for the structural integrity analysis report, but we cannot go beyond October. That was very clear during the negotiations between the fund and the seller in the presence of the investment manager. Coming to the names that were there.
What is going out of order, Mulanje Southeast?
Honorable Chairperson, the people of Mulanje Southeast are failing to follow the chronology of events. The acting principal officer is coming before the honorable committee after his secretariat had appeared before this honorable committee. And this honorable committee is privy to information about the assessments that were undertaken, which the acting principal officer is misleading your honorable committee. Is it in order to be misled by the acting principal officer as regards the chronology of events and the findings that his board had undertaken? Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mulanje Southeast. The acting principal officer for the fund has taken an oath. I'm sure he knows the implications of lying under oath. So we'll give him benefit of doubt to present his case as if deems it fit, because even the secretariat was given space to explain. When we're done collecting information from all key stakeholders, which the committee feels are important in helping us get to the conclusion of the inquiry, then at such a stage we'll have recommendations. Like I've said, we have Malawi Law Society watching, we have CSOs are watching, and the Malawians of goodwill are also watching, acting principal officer. As Parliament, we are not only going to use the recommendations from Parliament, we are going to consolidate recommendations from even Malawi's Law Society, recommendations from CSOs. In fact, CSOs have been asked to submit formally their recommendations because we don't want to see a Parliament which has lost focus. This Parliament and Public Accounts Committee will maintain its integrity up until we come to the conclusion of this matter. So it's entirely up to you, acting principal officer, to tell us what you feel is right. But the final decision rests on this committee, having heard from different key stakeholders who sat where you're sitting. Over to you. Honour members, I'll take the last one so that we don't spend more time interjecting him. He may complain at a later stage. We need to hear him. Mulanje West.
Thank you, Chair. And this is what I wanted to propose, because the questions which we did ask him, we didn't even respond, maybe because we are confusing him. Or can he go through whatever and we'll be indicating where he has missed a point and we ask him again? Because the questions which we did ask from the 19th of September 2023, who are these people who are with him? We didn't respond. And also another question from Honorable Mulanje, Southeast, as well as in Kadabe. All those, because maybe questions are just following before you finish whatever he's talking about.
Thank you, Mulanje South West. Mulanje West. Let us give him time. The more reason I said I will not take any interjections, because let him finish. Then I'll open the floor for honorable members to ask him questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. I was supposed to respond as to who participated in the negotiations, and I really did not give the names because they are follow-up questions. I indicated that myself, Boyd Hamera, participated in these negotiations as chairperson of the investment committee. There was Venancio Nzonda, who participated as the chairperson of finance and audit committee. There was Daire Kumwenda James, who participated as the board chair of that board. There was George Jim, who participated as the principal officer during that time. There, from the fund, I can recall these names. The seller was represented by Shiraz Yusuf, who is the chairman of Amaryllis Hotel, and Shiraz Yusuf, who is the CEO of Amaryllis. These participated in the negotiations. From the investment management, Nico, Daniel Dunga, who was the CEO of Nico Asset Management, participated in that negotiations. And after the negotiations, it was agreed that the signing of the sale agreement, which was under development at this time, should be done at the end of September 2023. If there will be some delays, but should not go beyond October 30th or 31st, 2023. That's how we proceeded with this transaction. So what followed is that the structural integrity report was produced by W. Chirwa, who were assigned, and it came out that the structural integrity report was okay. The building met the construction standards. Preparations were made now that we can conclude the transaction as everything was said, including the sale agreement that was negotiated, and the price was agreed at 47 billion in the negotiations that we had on 19th September 2023. Within November, there started the developments that brought some hitches to the investment. One of which was the devaluation that took place in November 2023. The seller went to the investment manager and he requested that there should be price adjustment to take into account the effects of devaluation, as he had indicated from the word go that his property was encumbered in that it had loans. There were loans that he acquired to construct. So some of the loans he will have to pay in dollars because the loans were in dollars. So he said with the devaluation, he has lost the value that he should have paid in dollars. That thing came and it came to the fund, and the fund, with the advice from the investment manager, shut it down to say, no, we had already negotiated and agreed the price. We cannot be changing this because of what is happening after we had concluded the transaction. Then there came an issue that also put spanners in the course. That was to do with a letter that came from Nico. Nico indicated that, as I've indicated that Nico is our investment manager and we are doing different investments with them. We had also an agreement of shareholding agreement to contribute to the construction of the hotel they are constructing at the golf club. It's called Oasis here in Lilongwe. So they came and indicated that as we are pursuing the Amaryllis transaction, we should take note that in the share agreement and under clause 9 of that agreement, any member, any shareholder that is participating in the Oasis hotel development is not supposed to invest more than 30% in similar ventures like hospitality in this case. So that also brought some mayhem among us to say, what were they doing when they knew that we cannot acquire 100% of a hotel and they were proceeding with all the analysis and the like, whilst we had this clause. And this was twofold. This was a problem from our side as a fund in that the legal person who analyzed or who read the shareholding agreement did not capture that and noted that it was not a right clause. From the Nico side, it was also a problem because them knowing the magnitude of our fund and the way it was growing, and kept this and disclosed from the onset, it's like they were hiding something whilst doing our work of facilitating this transaction. So that brought some discussions and dragged the conclusion of the transaction up to when it was written by, there was a letter that the seller wrote indicating that with all that has been happening, let's conclude this transaction, I think by 12 December 2023. This did not materialize. And later on, the investment manager wrote a letter. And in that letter, the investment manager, which is Nico, indicated that they are no longer proceeding with the conclusion of the investment because they have not concluded the due diligence that they should have done. That's how that letter read. From our side, we were not amused as a fund because this is an investment manager that we had assigned to do all those due diligence, do the analysis, and they were giving from the fund's money to do all these analyses. They were paying the service provider from the fund's money, and they say they had not concluded, so they are pulling out, they are withdrawing the pursuing of the acquisition of this hotel. We had a meeting as a fund, as a board, on 28th December 2023 at the Public Service Pension Fund boardroom, where we deliberated this communication from Nico. And because it was not convincing, the board agreed to penalize Nico by asking them to pay back all the money they had spent acquiring services in analyzing this investment. The board also agreed as a punishment that the contributions that go to them as an investment manager should be reduced to 1%. I did not mention at the start that from the onset, the contributions that go to these investment managers were split in 50, 30, and 20. That is 50% of the contributions or the money that the government and the members contributes. 50% goes to Old Mutual, 30% goes to Continental, 20% goes to Nico. So after this incident, the Nico was stripped off 19%, and this 19% was split to Continental and the Old Mutual. So they were left with 1% of the money. This was a punishment because they had failed to conclude a transaction that we had entrusted them, and we were still interested in having the transaction. So we gave them that punishment. You may wish to know, Honorable Chair and the members, that this punishment that was decided in only 28th December 2023 still stands to date. The Nico receives 1%. Of course, the effective date was somewhere in 2024. It did not start immediately. In 2024, I cannot recall the exact month when we started giving them this punishment. Going forward, in 2024, the board had to write the seller of Amaryllis Hotel that the investment manager who was anchoring this investment has withdrawn with the reasons that I've given. Now, the fund has not gotten any investment manager to be pursuing this investment. That is to alert the seller that the fund is not moving on this one because there is no investment manager. When the seller was communicated, he used his transaction advisor, which is Cedar Capital, to approach another investment manager to take up the transaction, as they felt that everything that was supposed to be done to conclude the transaction was done. It just needed an investment manager to anchor the transaction and conclude. So Cedar Capital on 12 February approached the Continental Asset Management that they should take up the the transaction. That was on 12 February 2024. They wrote Continental asking them to take up the investment. The communication was copied to, the email was copied to the fund, and we were in the loop that Cedar Capital has approached the Continental that they should take up the transaction. This was happening on 12 February 2024, when on 17th November we had met as a board and deliberated on the way forward of the Amaryllis transaction.
Controlling officer, you are an intellectual, somebody born around 1984. We can't keep asking you to mention years. We need years. Can you just improve on that one, my dear brother? That you give this committee complete date. 20 September 1982, 84. You close that. Not just flying dates on 12 September, then you go. No, do that. You are an intellectual. You are a deputy director in the civil service.
Thank you, Chairperson. You forgive me. These things are in my head, so somewhere I can sleep. But I will endeavor to provide the accurate dates. On 17th January 2024, the board had met to deliberate on the way forward of this transaction. And in the discussions, it was agreed that we should not proceed with the investment because NICO had withdrawn from the investment with the reasons they had given, and we did not have an investment manager to anchor it. When the Cedar Capital transaction advisors for Amaryllis approached the Continental, the life revived in the transaction because the feedback from the investment manager as the Continental Asset Management, which I cannot specifically recall when it was given, but they indicated that they would proceed. They would take up the transaction and conclude as requested by, if they are requested by the board. Then the communications were made confirming that the Continental should take up the investment. And their correspondences were there indicating that that was in March. That was on March 7th, the fund started communicating to the seller, indicating that March 7, 2024, the fund wrote the seller indicating that we are proceeding with the transaction with another investment manager. That is Continental Asset Management. And another letter also communicating to the seller was sent on 18th March 2024 to the seller, indicating that we have another investment manager in the loop that will take up the investment. With that, there were correspondences both to the seller and the investment manager on the processes that should be taken. In the course, Continental Asset Management were asked to develop, to analyze the transaction. As the analysis and everything was done in the previous year, that was in 2023. Now this was 2024, around the April. I can't recall the specific date. They were tasked to do the review of the analysis that were there and make a position as to whether the investment is viable. This communication was made to the formal communication that is referred in different documents, was made on 18th May 2024, where by 27th May 2024, Continental responded to the fund that having been given the task to review the analysis, the Amaryllis investment, we have done the analysis that was between 18th May 2024 to 27th May 2024. They said they have done the analysis and that they find the investment to be viable, and if they are given a go-ahead, they should be able to conclude the transaction within 30 days. this communication came from Continental. This is what happened in up to 27th May. You forgive me, I will take you back that this is happening after the purported or indication that we are no longer proceeding with the transaction, when Continental is providing an analysis and indicating that they can conclude the transaction within 30 days. So there was no signed minutes to that effect to say the transaction is not proceeding. There was no signed board resolution to that effect that the transaction is not proceeding, because the fund had reversed the decision not to proceed and now they were proceeding. That is the reason why there were no minutes, signed minutes of this meeting of 17th January 2024, and there was no board resolution of the meeting that took place on 17th January 2024. I should preempt, you might be asking to say, we have seen a board resolution that was signed by you. I have that board resolution, and I can confirm that indeed it was circulating, but that board resolution was not true. It was a false, a fabricated, a concocted board resolution. Why? There are two reasons. The first reason is that looking at the trust deed, section 15.10 of the trust deed for the Public Service Pension Fund, true copies of the documents from the fund ought to be signed by the board chair and the principal officer as the fund secretary. And that one had to be signed by the board chair and the chairperson of investment, who was me that time. That was fabricated. It's not me who signed that board resolution that was circulating in the social media. It was meant to tarnish my image, because I had reported to ACB after they were investigating this issue, that is in 2025. I had reported that there was no signed minutes and no board resolution of that meeting. People from the secretariat where I work, they had to fabricate those minutes and the board resolution and put my signature to tarnish me, because I had reported to ACB that there is no signed minutes and board resolution to this effect. So that's what happened on the board resolution and the minutes. Just to maybe conclude on this one, allow me, chairperson and the members, that I should exhaust what transpired to have the forged signature on the minutes and the board resolution. I had indicated in my opening that I was appointed on 27th October 2025 as a principal officer. And when I entered the office, it happened that I was given a board resolution, which I can share. It's available. I was given this board resolution. Maybe the secretary should help me.
Mr. Piwo, is there anything that you want secretary to assist you?
Yes, Chair. Yeah, give it to the Chair. Chair, I wanted you to have a copy of the board resolution that I was given when I joined the fund as a acting principal officer.
Point of order.
This will form part of your submission. I think it would be inappropriate for me to comment on this now, because the documents you've just given us now are bucket, and I will not attempt to respond to them because that will undermine my integrity and the integrity of the committee. At this stage, we have nothing but to protect the integrity of the committee. Let us proceed, Presiding Officer.
Thank you. Honorable Chair, I was giving that copy so that when I'm reading, maybe somebody can also be referring to that one. I was given a body.
What I've done, I've given the copies to Luntha Chiromoni so that when you are going through, he can be verified. While I listen to you with other fellow members and the Vice Chair who is seated here so that we proceed procedurally. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chairperson, for granting me that opportunity. I was given on 27th October when I joined office, I was given a board resolution that in a meeting that the fund held on 25th of October 2025, the board of the fund resolved that the investment committee...
Maybe before you proceed, you talked of a letter from Nico, where you also reflected that in those meetings Mr. Dunga had attended. Can you read the letter which came from Nico, specifically that letter, if you have? Members, anyone with the letter from Nico, just as quickly as you can check. Anyone can check on the documents that we had so that we assist the officer if he's lost.
Okay. Chair, there is a pack that has the Nico Asset Management Limited as the first page. In that, it's not numbered, of course, the pages, but on the paper or page number 5, there is a letter that came from Nico on 20th November 2023 that is indicating that it was addressed to the Principal Officer, Public Service Pension Trust Fund, and attention Mr. George Jim. Dear Sir, Amaryllis Hotel equity transaction between the Public Service Pension Trust Fund and Yusuf Investment Limited seeking consent from Oasis shareholders. We refer to the matter and advise that in accordance with clause 9.1 of Oasis shareholders agreement, to which PSPTF is a party, any party to the agreement that wishes to be engaged in or interested in any business which would be in competition with the business of Oasis must obtain consent of all parties to the agreement. The restriction applies to any interest acquired or party wishes to acquire in any business and equity investment beyond 35% stake. The period for which such restriction applies is any time a party is a shareholder and for the period of 12 months after the party ceases to be a shareholder. We propose that you review the clause 9.1 and proceed to seek consent of the parties to Oasis stakeholders agreement before the share sale agreement is considered and executed. This is the hindrance or the hiccup that I talked about that was brought in by Nico.
I see a point of order from Luntha Southeast.
Chairperson, you drew the acting principal officer's attention to a letter from Nico Asset Managers of the 23rd of January 2023, which this committee is assured the acting principal officer has got. Can he read that particular letter?
Acting Principal Officer, can you go to the page, letter from Nico, dated 23rd January 2024. Do you have that letter, or you want one of the members to help you go through it? Honourable members, anyone with the letter as was shared from Nico, the 23rd January 2024. I see Palombe Secretariat. Can you come and collect from Palombe Machemba a copy of the Secretariat? Kindly give to the controlling officer, the acting principal officer. I want you to read that letter. Over to you, acting principal officer.
Chairperson, the letter reads was addressed to the principal officer, and it is headed Purchase of Amaryllis Hotel Limited. I refer to the meeting we had with your trustees on 16th January 2024. In the meeting, we agreed that we will write to you on the 2 points. Reasons for Nico's withdrawal as number 1, and it was noted from review by our internal governance structure that the proposal generally did not receive adequate technical review for such a significant investment to provide required assurance that it is in the best interest of the fund. It was with this realization and with a view to safeguard the best interest of the fund that this decision to withdraw the recommendation has been made. Among other reasons, Nico Asset Management believed that the investment in a hotel being a specialized operation should have included due diligence by a hotel expert and a strategic partner, including the identification of the prospective operator. The absence of an expert due diligence and identification of the strategic partner, as outlined above, exposes the investment to significant operational and financial risk, i.e. how the hotel will be operated post the transaction. In view of the above, NAM believes that the proceeding with the recommendation to invest in is not in the best interest of the fund. Treatment of incurred expenses as number 2, should the fund require investment of incurred expenses, NAM will be open to discuss the same. We trust the above is clear of what you will be advised accordingly. I have read, Chairperson.
At that stage, you were the chairperson of the investment committee.
Chairperson of the investment committee.
Did you understand the implications of that letter, the content?
Yes, I understood and I even understand, but this was a lie from Nico. I am saying this because this is an investment manager that we had tasked to do all the analyses that are required for this investment. So if they did not do that as to how it will be operated, having a hospitality expert, who did they expect to do that analysis for them?
What has gone out of order? Mulanje Southeast.
Honorable Chairperson, can the acting principal officer provide to this honorable committee substantiation that he had actually refuted the valued advice that had come from the national, from Nico Asset Managers as to be worthless? Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Principal Officer.
I can refute that with what Nico wrote. The letter that I've indicated, the letter that is read, I have read, that was written on the 20th November 2023, is a response to that refutation. This is an investment manager that we employed to be doing an analysis.
Can you read?
No, they're very, okay. There is.
I want you to read. That's all I want us to do. You go through that one. And can you switch off your mic? I want you to be sober, chill, relax, okay? Because we want to get to the conclusion of this matter amicably. And I want you to know that you are under oath, and it will be very important that you're free. And I will not remind you about that again. But I just want you to feel at home. This is your parliament. Where we'll see that there are a few things that we feel you need to recollect yourself, we'll proceed to suspend and give you time to recollect so that you come back fresh and provide the details that are factual. Kindly proceed to read.
I am reading the letter that Nico wrote on the 20th November 2023. And it is what I've already read, that is to do with the clause 9 of the shareholder agreement. It is reading, Amaryllis Hotel equity transaction between the...
What has gone out of order? I would want to give him all the benefit of doubt, give him time to finish, so that we don't interject him that much. We've asked him a few things. He responds. He must feel a good atmosphere in this room, so that we are not at the same time inquiring into this and passing judgment on the go on things. So I would play to honor members that let us get information as it comes at an appropriate time. As a committee, we digest, and those who are watching, they can digest, like Malawi Law Society and other CSOs, they can digest, so that what your parliament is seeing, what the committee is seeing, what Malawi Law Society is seeing, what the whistleblowers are seeing, what other opinion leaders are seeing, we can come together and have a report. So I just wanted to guide the committee in that way. Presiding officer, please proceed.
Thank you, Chairperson. I am emphasizing that the reason that Nico put on this letter of 23rd January 2024 were not true, because they had already indicated that they invoked clause 9.1 of the sale agreement, the shareholder agreement, which I'm reading, and is saying, headline, Amaryllis Hotel equity transaction between the Public Service Pension Trust Fund and Yusuf Investment Limited seeking consent from Oasis shareholders. We refer to the above matter and advise that in accordance with clause 9.1 of the Oasis shareholder agreement, to which PSPTF is the party, any party to the agreement that wishes to be engaged in or is interested in any business which would be in competition with the business of Oasis must obtain the consent of all the parties to the agreement. That is acquired, or a party wishes to acquire in any business and equity investment beyond a 35% stake. The period for which such restriction applies is anytime anytime a party is a shareholder and for a period of 12 months after the party ceases to be a shareholder. We propose that you review the clause 9.1 and proceed to seek consent of the parties to the Oasis shareholder agreement before the share sale agreement is considered and executed. This was happening on 20 November 2023 when negotiations have been done and they are bringing in negotiations have been done on 19th September 2023 and they are bringing a clause with another agreement where the fund was is a party. It insinuates that they and with the explanation that I've provided to say all the things they have indicated on the letter of 23rd January 2024 that there was no due diligence or they did not involve a hospitality expert and all that. They are the ones that we are supposed to do this. They were given, actually in the contracts that we have with them, they are given power of attorney. When they are given assignments of this nature, they are given the power of attorney that they can do those things that they think are for the good of the investment that is being pursued. So the reasons Nico provided here were or are a lie. The truth of the matter is that Nico wanted money from the fund to be going to their other project of constructing Oasis Hotel. That's what I'm trying to communicate.
Controlling officer, acting principal officer, reaching this far, you've said you have other documents. I'm sure you had everything spelled out in that contract. Did you bring that contract? Yes or no?
No, I did not bring, but I should be able to provide.
How soon can you provide that contract?
Even today, when we are done, or latest tomorrow, I can provide.
With those remarks, honored members, I will suspend the proceedings for 5 minutes. Thank you so much. Honored members and acting presiding officer, I would like the proceedings. So allow me to ask the acting principal officer to leave so that honored members can discuss.